Okay, y'all, it's 7:05. We'll go ahead and get started. I'm Alexis, the president of Marlton Neighborhood Alliance. Um, and this is our quarterly meeting that we have every quarter. And actually, this is like 2 years now, right? So we're rounding 2 years here. We've been in existence. And what a journey it's been. So let me go ahead and get a started on my agenda here and get started. Oh, my favorite thing to talk about. First up, we have Regina, who is our treasurer, and she's going to bring us the treasury report. And I actually have it. Can you see my screen? Everybody see my screen?
Everyone, yes.
Okay, great.
So we started off beginning the month of March with $815.63 in the bank. We had no deposits. So wink, wink, hint, hint. We've had some withdrawals. The Vista print for the business cards, $67.30. Postal stamps so we can mail letters to all of our dear politicians to invite them to our event, $10.64. And our quarterly P.O. box rental fee of $45, leaving us with the ending balance as of May 31st, $692.69.
Thank you, Miss Regina.
You're welcome.
Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk about, I want to bring it up because it's next. The lights at North Marlton. And Paul Curling, it works with Public Works, and he's going to talk about how we're going to get that resolved. But it's not going to be quick. So Paul, let me mute because we always get that feedback because when you're in one room, I'm in the other. So let me try to figure that out. Hold on a second. Let me just mute, see if that works.
The lights, correct?
Say it again.
About the lights?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. As stated before, I'm Paul Curling with Prince George's County Department of Public Works and Transportation. We are currently in works with our utility department to get the street lights reinstalled at North Marlton due to the bad installation of some fixtures that weren't really in great condition to begin with. As you can see now, some of you have made travel that roadway. The roadway is not lit. A lot of the utility poles are in bad shape. Some of them aren't working. So our utility department has a couple of projects around the Marlton area. They're on a fixed budget right now. I believe they're installing some new street lights on the old colony section. So I was able to talk to one of my colleagues, and it seems like she may be able to fit in the new installation of some street lamps on North Marlton. So hopefully we'll see some brand new street lamps in that area in the next couple of months. That's all I have.
Ask if anybody have any questions.
I'm sorry, does anybody have any questions?
Did you say that the county is installing the lights that are on Old Colony?
I'm sorry, could you say it again?
Did you say that the county was installing the lights on Old Colony? Because we had some confusion who that was.
Yes, from what I was told that they have some project over there. They're installing some new, I don't know if it's new or reinstalling some new lights over in that area. I'm not too sure the specifics, but I was told that there are some projects over in that area. Anybody else? Going.
Okay, gone.
Okay.
Go ahead and mute so we don't feedback and hurt ears. Thank you. Okay. All right. So next thing that I wanted to bring up was we have something going on this weekend at the Marlton Pool. It's a pop-up shop, and I wanted to show a picture of it because she went so far as to send it to me, and I'm gonna kill this mouse. Let's see. There it is. Can I bring it over? It's a pop-up shop that's going to happen at Marlton Pool this Saturday. Pool access is $10. Pop-up, what is it? Pop-up shop free entry, and it's from 12 to 6:30 this Saturday. This Saturday, the 18th, June 18th, from 12 to 6:30. And it's right here. It's not the Brandywine pool, but our Marlton pool at Wexford, 8410 Wexford, Upper Marlboro. Okay, got that out of the way. All right.
What are the hours?
The hours again are 12 to 6:30. 6:30. And all of the vendors will be outside the pool. That's a note on the bottom. Can you see this note that I have up here?
Yes.
See my, oh, okay.
Yes. So basically, they can peruse the vendors without paying the $10 to access the pool. But if they want to access the pool, they would have to pay $10.
That's it. You got it.
Do you know if they're still looking for vendors?
I do not, and there's not a phone number on here. But if you reach out to us at Marlton Neighborhood Alliance at gmail.com, I'll find out for you. And actually, it's Thursday, so you better make it quick if you want to get it there. Let's see, is that it? I had another one. Okay. All right. Okay, so the thing that I love talking about, now I gotta find my little flyer. Thing that I love talking about, the thing that my dream is coming true, our Marlton Neighborhood Alliance first annual block party that we're having on, I need to put this up here, on the 25th. I wanted to see if you could see that menu. Oh, it's not gonna show on that picture. Click on it. All right. To find something else. Anyway, so we're having a block party. We have our food vendor is going to be Garlic Sensations. Will be our food truck vendor that we're having. Will be the only food truck vendor that we have. But we're also going to have popcorn. We'll have cotton candy, giving away waters, of course, and the pool is free from 3 to 6. We're also going to do a ribbon cutting because we were supposed to have a splash pad, but we have the delay, so it's not going to be ready for our party, but that's okay. We'll still do our ribbon cutting and break ground that way. You want to
we were talking about the kids shoveling the dirt.
Right. So we have little shovels, and we'll have the kids that are coming, and they'll shovel the dirt as our ribbon cutting ceremony. What else? What did I miss? Is that it? We have DJ. We have a DJ, and we have a DJ on the 1s and 2s, and then we're also going to have tents. I don't know what you call it, booths and tables where we got our politicians, where you can come meet the politicians or the candidates. I should say candidates. Meet the candidates for county and state, have a little conversation with them. And also we got, also Brooks is also going to have a table there, giving out something to do with health. That's what they chose to bring, some health things there. We have some arts and crafts. I have somebody doing arts and crafts, and somebody giving away lotions and stuff like that. So, and candles. So we got a little variety of a lot of little different things. And of course, we'll be there, trying to get more memberships to our organization. Not even it's not even like you pay. It's just, just your name, email, and, find out what's going on so we can get, different stuff done in the community. Like our monthly cleanup.
Before you move on to that,
Yep.
Taylor has her hand up.
Oh, I didn't even see it. Sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Taylor. Yes, ma'am.
Just a question. Why is it a ribbon cutting? Did you erect a new building, or did you renovate the pool? What's the ribbon?
Yes, we actually, there's supposed to be a new splash pad there for the kids. And it's been delayed. And unfortunately, we thought we would have it done by June because we thought we have it done by June, but it's been delayed again until July. So we're, it's still in construction. So yes, that's the reason it's supposed to have like a nice, but even we'll get it.
A kid splash pad.
Say that 3 times. Say it 3 times. Dare you. Okay. So yeah, that's what we were supposed to have for that. So
And if I'm correct, I do believe the county has helped to fund that via grants. I don't know what grants they received, but that's how they were able to achieve this. So it was very important that we celebrate this.
oh, absolutely. Yes, very important. But I don't know who funded it. I think, and I don't want to say it and be wrong. So okay. Okay, it was funded by the county, by somebody. Anyway, any questions about the block party? Did I leave anything out? We got kids, we got games, we got free swim, we got meeting candidates, we got music, we got food. I think that's everything, right?
Yeah,
All we need is you.
We're looking forward to it. I have the Senate citation already locked and loaded, ready to come and give to you guys at the ribbon cutting. So we're looking forward to this.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Can't
And
wait to
bring
hear
your friends, bring your family. We would
Yeah.
love a large turnout, because
Please.
this is our first one and we've been working very hard to make it a success. And we want people to be like, oh, I want to be back next year when they
Because
do
next
this
year,
again.
I want to have rides.
Okay, all right. Lorraine, you
I
know
can
how
dream.
to do. So
Yeah, I can dream. I can dream. Anyway, okay. So
Uh-huh.
that's the end of that. So block party on the 25th next week. Yeah, God, it's next week. Oh my God, every time I said it. Okay, the 25th of June next week, from 3 to 6. And again, free swim from 3 to 6. I hope to see you there. You can just stop by and say hi, pick up some water and leave. That'd be great. Leave your name so we can share with you all the goings on in your community. Okay, so I have that. Real quick, website and our newsletter. We just pulled out another newsletter for quarterly June quarterly newsletter. And on the front cover, but I couldn't get rid of a second ago. We have all the information about and I can send those out. I'll send me an email if I already have it. Just say in the chat that you want me to send it to you. If I have your email, just say, send you the newsletter. Again, if you don't already have it, so that you can see the menu and all the other things that we took our time to write about in the newsletter, me and Lo, and all the other contributors. So yes, Miss Medina.
And they can also find it on our website.
That's right. You can also find it on our website at www.marlton.org.
Real simple, marlton.org.
Marlton.org. I like saying it www. Make me feel like I'm on the news or something. Let me have my moments. Okay, so that's the newsletter. That's the website. Now, for our favorite part.
Oh, thank you, Adrian.
Oh, we got one?
A compliment on the newsletter.
Thank you.
We love feedback.
Yeah, we do. But we would love contributors more.
You took my line.
Sorry. Okay. We're here every Thursday. So now we're going to go on to meet the candidates. And I have a few on here that I didn't anticipate. And that's okay. That's okay. We're going to meet them too. The first one I have up is Ms. Kim Taylor. And because we're going to do ladies first. So, and there's another lady. So I need to, can somebody give me a name so I can.
Tanya
Sweat.
Okay. All right. There we go. So Ms. Kim, go right ahead. Introduce yourself.
Okay.
All that good stuff.
Hello, everybody. I don't feel like a stranger, but I know I don't know all of you. Marlton is actually kind of near and dear to my heart. My sister used to live in Marlton in the townhouses across from one of the pools. I'm not sure which one. And my cousin used to live there. So we'd visit and have family gatherings there. And my aunt currently lives in Marlton off Fairhaven. And I really tried to get her to get on the Zoom today, but I'll work on her for next time. Okay, I'll work on her. Okay, and I'm hoping to grab her and get her to come to the ribbon cutting too. So
okay.
All right, so I'm Kim Taylor, candidate for state delegate. As you probably know, we're just one big family now in 23, so you all can vote for up to 3 delegates, and two of our incumbents have decided not to run for reelection. That's Geraldine Valentino Smith and Cheryl Landis. So essentially, there are two seats available that are open. Of course, Delegate Marvin Holmes is here, and he is our incumbent, and he and our incumbent senator, Ron Watson, selected me to be on their team. So I'm quite honored to have been selected by them because they think that I would be one of the best to represent you in Annapolis. Just by way of what I do normally, like what pays the bills, is my husband and I have started a home care company from our basement in our house in Lanham over 25 years ago, and it has grown to be a mid-Atlantic company with offices in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Maryland. And we also serve seniors and veterans in DC. So the company is doing so well and has grown that I have been given the opportunity to raise my family. I have 2 boys that I birthed and 5 that I raised. They're my cousins. They call them my bonus kids. So it has given me the leeway to pursue service to the community. And becoming a delegate is just sort of the natural next step for my service. I am I really do feel you, Alexis, because I have been HOA president for 2 communities. The last one I was HOA president for 8 years, and now I'm again president for my HOA. Much smaller community. You guys got like 3,000 people, 3,000 homes. We only have 24 lots, so it's a little easier to
I think a little bit more than that, but that's okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I, as a home care agency owner for over 25 years, have a real heart for seniors, and I'm an advocate for aggressive long-term care policy. And when I'm in Annapolis, that's going to be one of my focuses is seniors and helping them to age in place. Wherever they are, at their home, if they're in an assisted living or continuing care, retirement community, they ought to be able to live, work, and play where they are and not have to leave Maryland to find those types of amenities. Just quickly, I serve on the advisory committee for aging. I was appointed by the county executive there. Also the education chair for the Prince George's County Senior Provider Network, and just 2 other things because one of my other passions, and I think Alexis, when I knocked on your door, we talked a little bit about this, is changing the narrative of our public schools. And I know that's really not something I would do in Annapolis, but that's just my heart.
Right.
Our students graduate with millions of dollars of scholarship money and they go to great schools and they become productive citizens, whether they go to college or not. But if you hear it from the media, you would think that our kids did nothing. They graduated and who knows what they become, because all we hear is negative. And then lastly, I'm a fierce protector for our home values. And you may have seen some of the news stories about appraisal bias, and me, along with Delegate Holmes, are founders of the Fair and Unbiased Appraisal Advocates. And we, as an HOA president, it all started with a phone call I got a year and a half ago from one of my neighbors who said, "I can't believe the appraisal I'm getting for my right." So they we made a phone call, another phone call that actually just kind of snowballed into a grassroots organization and a movement in the county to address this bias. And Delegate Holmes actually sponsored legislation to create a task force in Annapolis to take a look at this bias and how we can address it. And it passed, and I'm hoping to be a part of that task force when I'm elected. So that's it for me. I have a couple of questions for you guys later. I don't know if this is the right time to ask, but just hope to earn your vote. And if I haven't met you, I would love to do so in person. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. I do have one question.
Sure.
who handles senior citizens that may have, I guess, abuse? In other words, say like if somebody's trying to take their money, or somebody's trying to, they move in their house and they don't leave.
Yep.
Or is there new legislation or anything written to combat any of those issues at all?
Well, I think yesterday was Elder Abuse Day.
Really? Okay.
And the Advisory Committee on Aging actually held a webinar to discuss. And I know that our state's attorney normally every year has an elder abuse forum where we connect our seniors with the appropriate agencies and folks that could help them if they have suffered some abuse, and to recognize abuse. Yeah, I'm thinking out of the state's attorney's office. There's our Department of Family Services, the aging division, we can go to too. So
Okay. I don't mean to cut you off, or I want to make sure everybody got. Anybody else have any questions other than me? Because I don't want to, because I'm gonna talk to you about that later. But
okay.
Anybody else have any questions for Ms. Taylor, Candidate Taylor?
Will you be in attendance on Saturday, June the 25th?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, well, my questions can wait until then.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else? Okay. Next candidate we have is Tanya Sweat. I said it right? Sweat? Yes? Is she
Sweat.
still here?
Yes,
Okay.
you did. Sorry, I
Okay.
had to unmute myself and turn my camera off.
Okay.
The virtual world. Yes, you did say that correctly. It is sweat like perspiration. I am not offended.
No, I'm at Keith Sweat. See, I was going somewhere else.
Yep, like that one too. That one too.
I'm that old.
I'm right there with you, sisters. All right. But thank you very much for having me. I am Tanya Sweat, running to be your next county executive.
Okay.
A little bit about me. I'm a resident of Prince George's County, and I've been here for a number of years. I was brought here by way of the United States Air Force in December of 1999. And when I came to the area, I was assigned to the Pentagon to help inaugurate our 43rd president of the United States. From there, I was relocated to Andrews Air Force Base and served a couple of assignments before separating from the Air Force. I then started working in our federal government, and I am an attorney by training, trade, and practice. And so for my time in federal government as a civilian, I was a financial regulator. I tell people my claim to fame is I wrote a lot of regulations involving lending and consumer protection. I was actually one of the attorneys on the team that wrote the regulation that became the foundation for the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act of 2010.
Okay.
So I was what they call a bank regulator. My final job in federal government was as a manager. I supervised a fair lending examination and supervision program, and it was a nationwide program. And I managed a team of federal employees who are responsible for investigating financial transactions, allegations, and complaints of discrimination involving mortgage loans and consumer loans. In 2014, I stepped away from that because at the time we were getting our son ready to start high school. And I tell everyone I am the quintessential African-American mother of an African-American son. And so we wanted to make sure he got out of high school with good grades, with his limbs and legs intact,
Right.
and very much alive. And so I was blessed and able to, what I thought, take a sabbatical from my professional career for a little bit. He is now 20 years old, a rising junior at Robert Morris University. And we're very proud of him. He's on a full scholarship. So I guess mommy being at home was a good thing.
Right.
We also have a 10-year-old who is still a student in Prince George's County Public Schools. And I thought I was going to eventually go back to work full time. I since have learned that I was more in a career transition, if you will, because what happened is I became a PTA mom.
Yes.
And I know a few people in your meeting this evening who live in your community from my PTA mom days, and I learned too much. I learned a lot about what is happening in Prince George's County Public Schools. And I heard Ms. Taylor talk about the impression of our schools and the impression that the public has of our school system. I have a better understanding of why that is the case. And like many parents in the county, that concerns me severely. But beyond our education system, I started looking at other things in our county, because what I've learned being a product of the public school system of this nation is when your education system is a little rocky, some other things may just be a little rocky. And unfortunately, that led me to become a child advocate and a community activist. And yes, I did in fact learn that there's some rockiness that we need to deal with that we're not really effectively addressing. And so here I am offering my education, training, and experience to the county to help us make enhancements and improvements so that we can do better in the 21st century. My 3 priorities are first and foremost our children. I want to address our education woes. I also would like to work with Parks and Recreation to provide more activities for our children, be it intramural sports, science and technology programs. It can be esports, because that's a sport now, big sport with big money. We can also do equestrianism, you name it. I think we can do it under the umbrella of Parks and Recs. We just got to put the ideas to work. I also want to address a lot of issues that I'm hearing about, have learned about in our community. My second priority is that second C is community, and it involves everything that does not directly impact, affect, or deal with our children. So there, I'm talking about our environmental injustice issues, our floodwater management, our waste management. As a county exec, I can't change the taxation, but I can definitely advocate for our residents and our citizens and our homeowners about the tax concerns that we have. I want to address and improve our infrastructure. I want to make sure that we're managing the resources that we get extremely well. And I also want to obtain additional resources for us so that we can build a robust work development program. We do have students who've graduated from our schools that were not exactly ready to go to work. So we've got to put in a little bit of rehabilitation and remediation for them, because Prince George's County right now has the highest rate of disconnected youth in the state, and that should not be so. I'd like to bring more industry and commercialism, if you will, to the county so that our young people have a place to go to work and earn a living wage and not have to work just as waitresses or cashiers or grocery store baggers. Nothing wrong with those jobs, but it's expensive to live here. Yes, and we need to make sure our young people have jobs that are going to help them maintain a quality of life here in Prince George's County. I also want to address our senior concerns. Affordable living is a huge one. I've talked to too many of our elders who are thinking about selling their homes of 30, 40, 50 years and relocating because they cannot afford to stay here. We've got to deal with that. My third C is competence. And I use that word not to offend anybody, because it's not about calling anyone incompetent, but it's about ensuring that our workforce is competent to do what needs to be done in the 21st century, to ensure that our county employees get the best training that they can to keep them up to par with the new technology that's out there to help us manage and run our government.
Mhm.
Make sure that our small business owners have what they need so that they can build a business and help that business thrive and survive in this new age economy, especially now after COVID.
Mm.
So those are the things that I intend to work on. And I'm one of those people who believe in getting results. It's not about talking the talk, but it's about walking the walk. Time out for all the pretty things that glitter in the night and they look nice, but we're not getting the benefit from them that they can offer. It's about putting people to work so that the county gets what we all want and need. And so I appreciate you having me here. I will be at your block party on the 26th.
Yes, okay, thank you.
And so I look to earn your vote and your support on July 19th.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sweat. Real quick, does anybody have any questions for Ms. Sweat?
I don't have questions. I got requests. Can we get some eatery out here in Malton area? A sit-down restaurant that'll last longer than a month or two?
I hear that a
Something
lot.
that's not chicken related.
I hear that a lot. Believe it or not, I live in Akakeek, so I feel your pain. And yes, I have been looking at different restaurants to bring them into the southern part of the county, especially that 301 corridor. It is huge.
Absolutely.
You got stuff in pockets, but it's not nice sit-down restaurants that we all want and need. So yes, that is absolutely something that we can do. And I will tell you, having been a small business owner of a restaurant myself, one of the big things I hear our business owners complain about is the quality of our workforce, believe it or not. And so, yes, we will be recruiting better restaurants, but in the meantime, we're also going to work on improving the skills of our labor force so that when we get those restaurants here, we got people to manage them and they don't have to bring in managers to do that.
I'm going to do it from their community.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any other questions? Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you Saturday, 25th. All right. So I have on schedule, Mr. Watson. So we're going to go with Mr. Watson. And then we'll do our, my old friend, Mr. Marvin. But anyway, go ahead. Huh? Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. Watson.
All right, good evening, everybody, and it's good to see everybody. Let me just extend my gratitude for that Malton Neighborhood Alliance newsletter. So as many years ago, I used to deal with Bill Manning, and we had the Boy Scouts, print out, and hand those out door to door to door to door, and that's several years ago. And so when I saw this new version, I was like, oh, we done stepped the game up. It really, really looks good, and I appreciate it, and it was nice. Getting my little my piece in there. So I appreciate that. Look, I've been around for quite a while. In 2006, I was a school board member, and in 2015, I was a county commissioner for 2 years. And 2018, I was elected by you all to the House of Delegates. And in last year, our long-serving senator decided to resign. And so through a vigorous process, I was unanimously voted by every member of the Prince George's Democratic Central Committee that comprises the whole county for my name to be submitted to the governor. And so over almost a year now, I've been your senator. And of course, I stand with you now, seeking your support for re-election. In the Senate, I sit on the Judicial Proceedings Committee. That's the committee that deals with everything related to crime, punishment, law enforcement, guns, judges, all the bad stuff. But these are the things that we are really trying to grapple with right now in our community. We've done a whole heck of a lot. We brought back a record $2 billion from the state that came to the county. And listening to some of you all's concerns, and you want fine restaurants, and Look, 301 is one of the major corridors in Prince George's County. It is the major corridor in the 23rd district. And everybody knows if you're on 301 coming south, once you pass Rips, there is nothing till we get to Brandywine.
Mhm.
And I've been saying that for a long time. And I said, why? And with respect to taxes, you're right. Everybody's right. Taxes are high. But I had to dig into the weeds right now. 70% of what we have to pay for is shouldered by property tax owners. 30%, only 30% is funded by commercial development. The largest taxpayer in our county is National Harbor, is MGM, right? You go to Montgomery County, the situation is flipped. Only 30% of the tax burden is shared by the homeowners and 70% by business, which means we have to work a hell of a lot harder to bring business back here. And we're working on it. Some of you may or may not remember, we were trying to get the FBI building to come to Prince George's County. When Trump came in, he put the stop on that because he didn't want any competition, with his hotel. All right. Thankfully, Biden was able to keep that thing afloat with our federal partners. And we're supposed to know by the end of this summer whether or not Prince George's got it or not. Now, there were 3 sites that are still up for grabs. It's Greenbelt, Landover, and a site in Virginia. We got a 2/3 chance. This is huge. And everybody knows when you have a federal building, there's a whole infrastructure that gets placed around it. And that's what we want. We want people to work here in our county, work at home, and not have to, go anywhere. Likewise, $400 million is going to this Blue Line corridor. And I know that's a little ways away from where we are, but the most underserved community has been inside the Beltway. It just has been. That Blue Line, the Addison Road Metro, Seat Pleasant, Morgan Boulevard, everything leading towards FedEx Field has been underserved. And the funny thing is, you go to Montgomery County, Silver Spring, any place else, every metro has a mini city built around it, except ours. You get off the metro and you're like, where are you, right? And so that funding that we were able to provide to the county executive and the county council is going to be used to beef up those areas. They're talking magnet school. They're talking about an amphitheater. They're talking a lot of things. We have a sports and entertainment innovation center that's coming to our district, the 23rd district, right? When you go north on 301, as soon as you hit Wawa to the left, that whole area they're clearing out, that's called South Lake. That's where that's going to go, as well as a hotel. And also in that same area is something called Liberty Sports Park. It's going to be 12 lit ball fields, 12. And so we recognize, now check this out. We recognize how many sports legends come from Prince George's County. And we said, what can we do to make us the Mecca, something we are known for? It's our athletes. It's absolutely our athletes. And so significant investment over a long period of time is going to go over there. But, that's, just some of the things that get me excited and we have to work on. 2 things, and then I'll pass the torch. One is we got to get hold of this crime. Okay. Now, I used to be a school board member, and I remember a student committed suicide because she was bullied, and she was bullied online. And I tried to pass a bill where, I tried to get guidance counselors to monitor, some of the social media accounts of the students with the parents' permission, because when these kids are reaching out, crying out, there needs to be some quick intervention. And too many times when you hear, the mass violence, there's always a manifesto that was written online. Somebody had documented what they were going to do, and they put a lot of time in it, but nobody pays attention until the investigation after people get needlessly murdered and killed. And we can do better than that. The reason I wasn't able to push that forward is because we couldn't crack the code on privacy. And we had a lot of parents who really didn't want other adults overseeing their children. So they said to me, Ron, no, I'm responsible for my child. Now, that was 16 years ago. No parent could have imagined the amount of information available to our kids today in so many different formats, in digital media, so many different websites. Our parents can't keep up. And so when are we going to balance what's required for oversight for the protection of our kids versus, we got to let folks do what they do, it's privacy and this and that. Our kids are dying, y'all. They're dying. And I don't know what's happened in the mindset of our kids that made them think that life is so terrible that they can go out in a blaze of glory, take everybody else's life, and devalue their own to take their own life. This is a mental issue. And our parents have failed. We've lost a generation of kids, but it's not too late. So dealing with juvenile justice and those things that I hold near and dear to my heart, we're trying to balance punishment because we got to get the crime off the street. With real deal opportunities and rehabilitation and ways to fix what is broken in our communities. And we have to recognize this is a Black issue in our communities. Black on Black crime is real. The carjackings is ridiculous. And these kids take it for a joke. And we have to really dig down deep. So I wanted you to know that I'm your partner in that, your champion. And when it comes to things like crime and those types of things, look, Alexis, what I always said I wanted to do is I wanted to have a quarterly meeting. I want to call it the President's Roundtable, but I want to convene a Zoom call with presidents of each HOA and bring on the chief of police, bring on the fire chief, bring on those people so we can have dialogue every quarter, because I don't know what's going on until something really hits the fan. And if I can affect it through legislation or bring our county council people on board, our county executive on board to know what's going on, we have a better shot of being more proactive and stopping things before they get too bad. And then the last thing we really have to work on together, and there are a lot of concerns, y'all, is recreational marijuana. It might sound nice, cute, and pretty to bring revenue in, but let me tell you, the implementation of this thing is going to challenge everything we hold dear. We could actually, if we do this wrong, see our Black and brown kids being pulled over again because they smell like weed, profiling going on again. You could have people getting high and who have to carry firearms, who are your dentists, your doctors, people who are operating heavy machinery. There's currently no way right now to put in place a method to tell whether you're actually inebriated to the point of impaired functionality with marijuana, like you do alcohol. And so as many phone calls as I get, I'm just not there yet. I'm just not there yet. You want to do that, go to one of these other countries or states and have your fun, but we can't afford to put our kids at risk. We can't afford to go backwards. And these are the kind of issues that, I really have to grapple with, but I can't do them without community input. And you all can't expect your elected officials to make these decisions without your input. So I look forward to being a partner. And, I'll leave it right there. Look, I have enjoyed working in this community. I used to be the community liaison for the Malton Golf Course. I fought like hell to make that thing work. I did. Too much pressure from Beech Tree, Oak Creek, all the other golf courses, too far nestled, in the back of the neighborhood. We had comedy shows. We tried it all. And unfortunately, it's sold and now it's under some type of litigation, is my understanding. But
Yes.
I've been with Malton for a long time and I look forward to continuing to serve. So I'll leave it right there. But thank you so much for what you guys do. I appreciate this.
Elect me, Senator Watson, you can come to my meetings. You won't have to have them.
Thank you, Ms. Sweat. All right.
Okay, I know if there's a lot of people on this call, I'm pretty sure that they all have questions for you now that you didn't said something that just slapped me with the golf course, because that is just like.
So the great thing is that he's going to be there Saturday.
Oh, I'm gonna.
We can
Yes,
talk
I'm
more
gonna
about it
pull
because
your
you got a
ear
couple
off.
of more candidates.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah, I'm at your time. You're gonna have to have numbers to take there because we're gonna have a whole lot of conversation.
All right.
We're gonna need a bowl of anyway. All right, who I got? Who I have next?
Mr. Holmes, and then there's Joycelyn. If I'm saying that correctly.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Go ahead.
Oh, well, hello. How are you all doing today? Some of you who are here recognize me. I attempt to be on the quarterly phone calls as frequently as I can. So I'm not new to most of you. But for those of you who I am new to, let me give you a brief background of me. I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, and then from there I went to Tuskegee University in engineering, and then from there I got caught up in this little thing called Vietnam, and I got drafted. And because I had this ability to understand and love mathematics, I had the opportunity to go into the Coast Guard and not go over to Vietnam, where in those particular time frames, if you look at it in terms of ratios, 56,500 people were killed in Vietnam versus about 8,000 in the current conflicts that we have been in. So getting my draft notice of number 26 meant that I probably would likely have never survived and would have never have come back from there. So I'm very, very happy that I had this mathematical ability to get put into the Coast Guard. In the Coast Guard, I was one of those crazy guys that would jump out of the helicopter, swim over there and pick you up out of the ocean, which you should not have been in the first place in the crazy weather, take you back up to the helicopter, pump your heart, and set your arms and legs. And I even delivered a baby on a helicopter at one point, which was crazy as heck because they should not have been out there either. And it was at that point where I went to the Presidential Honor Guard, which is how I began to get my introduction to the Washington, D.C. area. After my release from the military, I came back to the D.C. area because there were no engineering jobs in Cleveland. And that's how I get active in the political scenario here in this area. Currently, which is more important to you, I am chair of a whole lot of organizations, a whole lot of leadership in the General Assembly. And I'm very, very happy that our Senator Ron Watson has taken the helm. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy that we had the opportunity to have Ron Watson take the Senate, because there were some time frames where persons had asked if I wanted to take the Senate. And to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I did not want to take the Senate position because I am a leader in the House of Delegates. I don't want to get too far deep into inside baseball in politics. But had I left the House of Delegates, we as citizens of the 23rd District would not have a leader in the House. And I think that me staying in the House is to the benefit of all of the all of the persons in the 23rd District, because I am in leadership in the House. I'm chair of the Housing and Real Property Subcommittee. I'm chair of the Fire and Emergency Medical Services Coalition. I'm vice chair of Rules and Executive Nominations. I'm on the AELR committee, and I'm a leader of several other organizations within the House. You benefit by having a leader in the House. And that's why I decided to stay there and to be a leader in the House, particularly because of the way the policy works. Now, I talked about housing and real property. And I want to, for those of you who don't know, you have in part of your umbrella organization a community called Marlton 4. Marlton 4 had struggled for over a decade and did not have a formalized community, formalized organization, a formalized governing body. They called, I stepped in, and for a year and a half, I worked with Marlton 4 and got their organization put back together with the assistance of Marlton Neighborhood Alliance. When we had when Marlton 4 had their very first meeting, several of the members on this call right here, Alexis, Regina, their very first election was when we got them put back together, and now they are finally collecting dues and they're back on track. That is the purview that I am responsible for within the Maryland General Assembly. I am responsible for all HOA Act, the Condominium Act, everything relevant to real estate, foreclosure, which was a huge issue in 2018, 2019. I'm responsible for real estate agents and real estate agency. Everything related to real estate, I am in charge of that in this subcommittee. The other thing I want to talk about very briefly, and then if you don't mind, Alexis, I'd like to turn it over to Jocelyn Collins to give her an opportunity to speak too. The other thing I want to talk about is sometimes little things take place where people just don't understand how it happened. If you look around, Prince George's County only has one state agency. One. Previous to me being in office, Prince George's County had no state agencies whatsoever in Prince George's County. None. I thought that was ludicrous. As large as we are, and as populous as we are, and as we need to have at least one state agency. I put a bill in, and Anthony Brown helped me get this bill passed. That is why, that's the only reason why DHCD, Department of Housing and Community Development, is in Prince George's County. Legislation that I put forth made it necessary to have one state agency in Prince George's County. That's the only one that we have. When I got that bill passed, Anne Arundel County threatened to sue because they wanted to keep that state agency in Anne Arundel County. And I said, please, please do so. Please sue on. They complained about people not wanting to move from Anne Arundel County to Prince George's County to take those jobs. I said, you know, that gave me an idea. Now that you said that, now I am requiring that you, DHCD, you know, combine forces with Bowie State University and University of Maryland to train people how to take jobs at DHCD. Any other suggestions you got? So that's how that happened. That's how that happened. I also want to talk to you very, very briefly about that swimming pool. That swimming pool that you have, which we're having the meeting with on June 24th, is near and dear to my heart. If you recall, it was about 10 years ago, 10, maybe 12 years ago, I think we gave you $125,000 back then because the pool was 100% totally closed. And I think we gave you $125,000. Me and Senator Peters, got you $125,000 because the pool was totally closed and shuttered. At least now it's back open. And for those of you who don't know, the swimming team, the swimming pool is open and it's doing very, very well. And I appreciate that. And we are running as a team. And I wanted to express that point. Senator Ron Watson, myself, as they call me the guy with the long tooth here, the old guy. Me, Senator Ron Watson, Kim Taylor, and Jocelyn Collins. We're running as a team. And we're running as a team for one particular reason. In any event, including politics, if you don't have a team, you're going to fall apart. We have formed ourselves as a team because we know that each of us, all four of us, have different things that we can bring to the table. No one person can do it by themselves. So we have formed a team, and we would be very, very appreciative if the citizens of Marlton would vote for us as a team, because as a team, we can get it all done. And with that, Alexis, I'm going to step aside, and if you would allow our other team member, Jocelyn Collins, to say a few words, I really would appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Good evening, Marlton Neighborhood Alliance. I'm Jocelyn Irene Collins, and I am running for state delegate here in District 23 because I understand our circumstances can be different, from education to healthcare to environmental justice to justice reform. The list goes on. Maryland is not leading, and I want to change that. A little bit about myself. I actually spent my career in public service. I'm actually formerly serving you guys on the Democratic Central Committee from 2017 to 2018, where I actually got the vote out and pushed a party platform on the local level here, in Prince George's County. I currently work for the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network. And that's the advocacy affiliate of the American Cancer Society. And I actually led a successful effort, here in Maryland to raise the sales age of all tobacco products to 21 years of age. Banned minors from using tanning beds, worked on the most recent tobacco tax increase to save lives from the toll of tobacco. 18.25 million of those funds from the tobacco tax actually went to fund tobacco prevention cessation program funding here in the state that actually funds free services such as a quit line, which actually helps residents free of charge with actual therapists and nicotine replacement therapy to actually help them quit smoking. Also went to programming in our schools for funding for that, for cessation, and of course to promote folks to not smoke in the first place. And went to also to our local health departments. Many of the billboards that you see on the road and the community, all the graphics that you see on social media, that also went to fund that as well. And most recently, this past legislative session, I actually worked on the Maryland Cancer Moonshot. That actually allocated $216 million to cancer prevention, treatment, and research. $67 million of those funds actually came back here to Prince George's County to fully fund the new cancer center coming to the Capital Region Medical Center in Largo, Maryland. So that will actually help to close the health equity gap here in the county. So that's something significant, so I'm very proud that I worked on this session. Again, Marvin talked about, Delegate Holmes talked about briefly about everybody has their specialty. Of course, one of my specialties is healthcare. That's what I really want to focus on tonight. As state delegate, I would definitely, one of the biggest things for me is really focusing on prescription drugs and really lowering the cost of prescription drugs. Many people do not realize a couple of years ago, we actually passed the first ever in its kind in the country prescription drug affordability board here in Maryland. But what people do not realize is what they're actually charged with. So this prescription drug affordability board is actually charged with capping the cost of prescription drugs. But specifically, one of the big things that they don't realize is that currently it only applies to those who are state employees, capping the cost of prescription drugs for those who are state employees or local employees or those who are retirees. One of the biggest things coming into 2023 is making sure we fix this and making sure we expand the reach of the Prescription Drug Affordability Board, as they are, of course, now trying to look at setting, of course, the cost for state and local employees and those who are retirees, but expanding it to everyone, right? So that everyone can, everybody has, of course, prescription drugs lowered and making sure that's taken care of. Second biggest thing for me is closing the Medicaid and Medicare coverage gaps. That's something really important. Specifically, one thing is I want to really focus on too, going into session 2023, is focusing on access to biomarker testing. That's a relatively new technology and testing, but it's for the rich right now. And it can detect cancer, it can detect heart disease, it can detect, list goes, lung disease, the list goes on and on and on. And you can know years in advance what you possibly will have. And we need to make sure we have that access for everybody. And so those are, of course, I want to, not spend too much time, but we have a lot of work to do. Kim talked about earlier about education. Really need to put our money where our mouth is and constantly fund education, and also not only care about education when we have a new education funding bill every decade. And that's something that's really, really important. And of course, too, another big thing is looking at, of course, in the environment. People don't realize in Marlton, there's a huge breast cancer population. I say there's a huge, really big breast cancer population in Marlton. And I think a huge part of that is, of course, environmental. And one of the biggest things is really need to focus on is the environment, focus on environmental justice. And what does that mean? We passed in Maryland last session the Climate Solutions Now Act, which is, of course, the first of its kind here in the state to make sure we lower our emissions, greenhouse gas emissions, and also set a climate standard and goal for our state, which is great. But one of the biggest things is that what people don't realize is that a big part of it, and Delegate Holmes can talk about this too, is a part of it is there's a bunch of commissions that are actually tasked with finding solutions to, of course, basically curb the effects of climate change. And one of the biggest things that we're going to definitely have to do so we protect the earth for our future generations to come is making sure we fund those recommendations from those commissions. There's several. And there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to have to do policy-wise as we move forward with those commissions. And definitely, of course, those in who are selected as delegates, even as, of course, senators are going to have to really push for that and continue to push for it. And, you know, our team is here to do that. So please consider voting for me and the rest of the team as well. Jocelyn Irene Collins. You can find me at www.jocelyncollins.com. And thank you for the opportunity.
You're so very welcome, Ms. Collins. If you have questions for the team, they're going to be there on Saturday, June 25th from 3 to 6. And you can chat with them at the table that they're going to have, and bring on your questions, because I'm going to have some too. So that takes care of, I think I got everybody, right? Anybody? Oh, somebody had a hand up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Can we ask questions now? Because I will not be at the pool party.
You can ask them, sure.
Awesome. Thank you all for introducing yourselves. I appreciate hearing what the team is doing. I especially appreciate, like, some people are really, really focused on education. Some people are really, really focused on the seniors in the county. And my focus is really around education and young people in the community. And I personally think that there is a connection between education and the crime. And I am interested, one of the things that I know to be true is that sometimes when we address and state that there's a problem, you know, we tend to get to the root cause. And sometimes when I go to meetings, and I'll go to the board meetings, and I hear people in the school system, I don't often hear people talk about, like, there really are issues in the school system, and what are those root causes? I often hear about all of the great things that are happening, and they are happening, but they're happening in pockets. And I want more, right? All of us want more. All of us know that we can be better. I believe that we can be better, and what's in the news and what's in the media, of course, they focus on the things that are not going right, but those of us that are actually living here, we do experience those things as well. And I would love for those to be addressed, acknowledged, right? So we can move on. I don't always get that acknowledgement, right? It's almost like it's not happening. And so I'm just interested in just hearing a little bit about your reaction to that. And how do you respond to community people who have that type of sentiment?
Did you want to address that to any particular candidate, or who would you like to answer that question?
I would love to hear from Ms. Taylor and Ms. Sweat specifically.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry, I just want to interrupt here because we're at 8:07. So I just want us to be cognizant of the time in our responses. Thank you.
So I'm very well aware of the positives and all the negatives with regard to our schools. I've had my kids go through private school, homeschool, and public school. I've just chosen to focus on the positive. I think if we highlight the successes of our kids, we start to change the optic and the narrative of our schools. Now, there are going to be issues, but our kids will live up to our expectations. And what they hear in terms of Prince George's County Public Schools is that they're either not good if you're not in a certain program, or they're substandard in some way, but you always hear about the negative. So I can't imagine being a child in our school with no other choice but to go to the public school, and all I hear is negative about my school. Then I internalize that and potentially not live up to the potential that I might have had if I had seen more of the successes coming out of our schools. And if we have, in terms of social media and news reports, just more press around all the good stuff that and all the great programs that we have in our schools. Are there problems? Absolutely. But I will tell you that the school board issue, school boards are dysfunctional all across the country. So we're not an anomaly for a dysfunctional school board. And that's maybe not what you're talking about, but we tend, our press tends to focus on that. So, I'm not on the school board, not a county official, can't do much to change any of that. But as a citizen, I choose to highlight the positive, and I'm also on 2 advisory boards for our schools. The Career and Technical Education Advisory Board and the Health and Biosciences Advisory Board. And I'm very well aware of the fantastic programs that we offer. And when these kids graduate with those certificates, they actually can go to work. But we don't talk about that, and a lot of parents don't know. So just as a matter of, being Kim Taylor, a citizen, I choose to focus on the positives.
Thank you, Ms. Marshall, for that question. And I'm gonna let the cat out the bag here. Adrienne knows me well. Our children were at Oxon Hill High School together. My son graduated prior to her child, but I was her PTSA president for a little bit. And so she knows that I don't pull any punches. Yes, we should focus on the positive. However, when we're touting the positive and our children are going into environments that are negative or unhealthy, when they go on to social media and they see the chaos erupting in their schools, we look like hypocrites. And unfortunately, because we've not acknowledged the issues that we need to address, the media has pounced on us and taken the advantage of the situation, and they take every opportunity that is presented to make us look like we don't know what we're doing. That is the unfortunate consequence of not being honest about our failures, our flaws, our vulnerabilities, and our weaknesses. I agree with Ms. Taylor that we do have brilliant children in this county. And we have children who are doing exceptionally well. We have to acknowledge that only 5% of our 135,000 student population test above average. It's not because they're not above average, but it's because there's something else going on that we're not addressing. We have to acknowledge that Prince George's County Public Schools remains ranked 23rd out of 24 school systems in this state. You can't hide that. We have to acknowledge that companies will not come here because when they look at our education system, and for a big company to come, that's the first thing they look at is the public school system. They're not going to bring their high-paid executive staff here and then require them to put their children in private school. That's not how they operate. So when they look at our public school system and it's not performing at a level they expect, they're not investing in our county. They're not bringing the business here. We've got to change our school system. And it starts, one, by looking ourselves in the mirror and being honest. We're failing our children. What do we need to do to fix that? Number one, we have to have a school board that is willing to put their personal interest aside and work together for the benefit of our children and our educators. It ain't about who getting airtime tonight. Number two, we got to look at our curriculum. I know our educators say they like Common Core, and trust me, I talk to them often. We disagree on this. They like Common Core. as a parent, as a woman of 5 college degrees, I hate it because it's not teaching our children analytical and strategic thought. I hate it. So we've got to change our curriculum and teach our children to become adults who can survive on their own independently. Common Core does not do that. And there's nothing wrong with Prince George's County running its own curriculum. Maryland is a home rule state. We can do that. The other problem we have in our education system, and people don't like it when I tell the truth about this, but I'm going to tell the truth. That $2.6 billion budget you hear about, that ain't coming out of our pockets. It's not all Prince George's County money. A large chunk of that is coming from the federal government. It's mandated. The nation is paying a large chunk of our educational budget. The largest portion of that $2.6 billion comes from the state of Maryland. So the entire state is putting money into our educational budget. When you look at Prince George's County's budget, we only put about $35 million of our homeowners' taxes into our school system. So we're failing our nation, we're failing our state, and we're failing our children. We got to stop for a minute and think about whether we at home want to invest more in our school system. And many of our elected officials in the county don't want to put more into it because the state requires this thing called maintenance of effort. Once you set a level, you can never go below it. We've been at $35 million for a very long time. Education is advancing very quickly, and it's going to cost money to make sure our children are where they need to be. So we got to have an honest conversation about what we're not doing. And it's not about beating up anybody, because I respect our teachers, I respect our administrators, but I love my babies more. All 135,000 of them. And we've got to do better by them, or they're not going to survive in the 21st century global economy. That's how I feel about it. And you can quote me on it.
We will. We will. You got a fan over here. She had a question. Lorraine, Lolo, did you want this to be to Ms. Sweat, or who did you want to, or you just wanted it in general, the question that you asked? It doesn't matter?
About the root problem?
Yeah.
I
think she hit it.
Yeah, right? I think Ms. Sweat hit it. I was addressing that more to Ms. Marshall, because she was just saying root problem. And I'm like, okay, but what does that mean? Because I'm a homeschool mom. Actually, not anymore, because my last son just graduated. So that's weird for me. But so I didn't have any kids in the public school system. So I kind of don't understand a lot of what goes on in the public school system, except for what I'm able to read and see. So that's where I'm kind of lost when it comes to the school stuff.
Yeah, but you made it. She was cheering for you as you was talking. So she agreed with most of that. So just saying. All right, so it is 8:18, and Regina is my time police. We got to wrap it up, but I wanted to say volunteering for anybody who's not running for office already. We really need volunteers in our newsletter and on our website. If you know how to do website, if you if you want to help us clean up every third Saturday of the month, we are there. Our website has all that, www, and I love saying that, I don't know why, www.marlton.org. Come check us out there. We're there. Information about the pool that we got. Oh, and please come to our block party. It's on June 25th from 3 to 6, and it's free swimming. And we'll have some popcorn, cotton candy, and some music. And you can meet the politicians. Not politicians, sorry.
Candidates.
And
this meeting will be posted on our website. We post all of our meetings on the website, so you can view them at your leisure.
Yes, and
that's marlton.org.
www.